Hello and welcome to Fearless Authenticity. That's with me, Jeanne Sparrow, where we find the biggest source of our success in who we truly are. These are conversations about what it looks and feels like when we use our unique gifts to find our passions, make our dreams come true, and engage with the world in the way we were created to serve. Now, I do want it to get deep because that's where we find the best stuff, but don't get it twisted. It's also about the fun of life, because if it ain't fun, it ain't worth doing. And as I always say, let's be brave, be free, be you together. Now, my guest today is one of my favorite people. She is a 4-time Emmy Award-winning host of Windy City Weekend, a spinoff of Windy City Live on ABC7 in Chicago, the talk and entertainment show that distinguished itself by running a full decade. She is known for her signature host chat, where she dives into what's on people's minds. She is also an amazing interviewer, so she's going to test my skills today, who talks to stars, leaders, and those who may not be household names too. She is well known for her commitment to community involvement, volunteering for a number of charitable organizations, and covering topics that touch people right where they live. She is a proud wife and mother of 2. She's also a dog mom. I want to welcome the one, the only, the fabulous Val Warner to the Fearless Authenticity Podcast. Val, what's up?
That introduction, I'm not worthy. Thank you.
Yes, you are.
Oh my goodness. Whenever I hear people introduce me, it still seems like they're talking about me. But thank you so much. I appreciate you inviting me on your show. And listen, let me tell you something. You are the woman too, ma'am. So this is about to be just a whole conversation, because I am not going to do any interviewing today. I am going to allow you to dig deep into me. If you can find something that Chicago or everybody doesn't already know about me, then you are the woman.
You know, I like to talk, girl. Well, you know what? I want to start with this. I have a thank you. I often start my interviews with a thank you, because most of the people that I've asked on are people that I know that have done something. You have one of the brightest outlooks in life. I feel you always have a smile on your face and a kind word, at least for me. And you have been supportive through some tough times for me, and doing and backing it up with action. So thank you for that, Val. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that. I love how, because you remind me a lot of Melissa Foreman. I don't know if I've ever told you that.
No, you haven't.
Y'all are both sunshine, child. Just
tell
sunshine.
Me more.
And here's the thing, because y'all wear your hearts on your sleeve.
I do that
in a way that I think endears people to you. And it works for you. And that's a brave choice in our business, because people will tear you apart sometimes for the things that you are vulnerable with. And I know that that's something Melissa and I have talked about a lot. But I want to start with this, since it's the name of the podcast. When I say the words fearless authenticity to you, what are the first things that come to mind?
Val Warner. I'm not kidding you. Like one of my, I waited till I hit 40 plus to get my first tattoo, but I have a few little baby ones. But my next one is going to be fearless. And Jeanne, the reason why I say that is because you remember Marlene Seelip, who launched Windy City Live along with Cindy Petrasso, who has become my mentor in this business. Because you have to remember, I went to school to be a journalist, not a talk show host. So Windy City Live was a path that I did not see for me. I saw everybody else that can do that. Oh, you'd be great at that. Oh, yeah, she's opinionated. You would kill it. But when it came to me doing it, I thought, me? Like, who would? I don't have an opinion like that, or I don't even want to share it. If I do, I'm not that bold and that fearless and that courageous. I didn't see that in me, but Marlene Seelip saw that in me. And she was a tough cookie. She's a great boss, but she's a New Yorker. I mean, she spent a lot of time here in Chicago, but she lives in New York. She has that New York tone and that way about her. And you know what I mean, because you're shaking.
Girl, I've heard stories about Marlene, honey.
Yeah, Marlene is no joke. No, Marlene is no joke, but she shoots it to you straight. She tells you what you need to hear, even when you don't want to hear it. But one of the biggest compliments she could have ever given me when she was leaving, she told me this before, but for her to say it publicly on her last show, when we thanked her for what she did for the city of Chicago by creating Windy City Live, which was hosted by me and Ryan, but really was Chicago's show, was that she called me fearless. And I almost like I probably did cry because I cry all the time. But I thought, wow, this woman thinks I'm fearless. And it meant so much to me because I was like, I didn't necessarily feel that way about myself, but she saw something in me, obviously, for me to even offer me the show, to after our audition for me to get the show, but then to carry it on all down through the years. So, and so when you say fearless authenticity, right? I am pretty real. There's not much that, is off the table or something that I don't share. Sometimes I think I'm real to a fault. Sometimes I think I overshare. And then later on I go, oh, why did I say that on the show? Or I shouldn't have shared that. But at the same time, it's just me being me. So if I'm going to be in this role and I'm going to just talk, then I don't know any other way to be than me, which is Val, which is the crybaby, the indecisive Val, the happy Val. I am gonna, like you said, I am going to, when you said Melissa and I are both bright, I am always gonna see something as half glass full. I'm not gonna tell you that that's empty at all. I'm like, oh no, you think that's empty? Oh my God, I see it's half full. That's just how I am about life on TV and in general.
I love all of those things, and I know Cindy pretty well. I didn't know Marlene. I just knew her through other people.
You heard the stories.
Girl, I've heard stories about Marlene, honey. I was like, probably love her. I would probably love her.
You would,
but
you would. She's an awesome human being. She's just tough. She's a tough cookie.
And you know what? And sometimes we need those people in our lives, especially in our business, because our business can be so hard on women and, being a Black woman in the business and things like that. But one of the things that I like is that you are able to find, and I'm glad that you had somebody to empower you to do that, find that balance between the fun in work, but also the things that people care about and that hit them, because some people feel like, oh, I got to be this thing. And I think that happens to all of us at some point in time, especially in this business. But we have to be the serious reporter, or we have to be the talk show host. But you go from doing Windy City Live and to talking about topics like domestic violence and breast cancer and bullying, things that have touched your heart in a certain way, and sharing your life, about your children on the air, about, like when you fell in love with Jabba and all of a sudden he became another character on the show. But the fact that you weren't afraid to share that, because I know that's been a hesitation of
Let's
mine.
say I wasn't afraid. I was scared because I was engaged for a long time for all of Windy City Live to someone who's not Jabba. So that was scary and tough. But yeah, it had to come out. I couldn't suppress it anymore.
You couldn't contain it, which is so. But what made you finally say, you know what, all of me is going to be on this show?
I think the day I got the show, Jeanne. The day I got the show, I got some advice when I left WGN, and I don't remember who told me this, but they said, just be you, don't change. And that sounds so simple, right? Oh, that's easy, just be you. But I mean, that's the best advice I could have ever gotten, because it is so literal and it's so true. Your best you is when you're real. When you're trying to be something you're not, that's when you mess up. Think about it, because you're acting. You're not being true to who you are. So then there's a chance for you to trip up and get stumbled up because you're not being authentic.
Right.
And that's the thing. It's like, I credit the success that people give me to just being me. Now, it's funny that when you started off with this question, the position I'm in now is very interesting, because obviously Windy City Live, as we knew it, came to an end, and now there's Windy City Weekend, and now I'm transitioning back into the news world. So I'm finding myself, after a decade of being 100% authentic and 100% real and sharing my opinion and voicing those concerns that I have, I'm finding myself struggle a little bit with this notion that you're now just to give the news. You are to just inform and not insert your opinion. into things, and to want to, there's Val wants to come out sometimes, but then, I'm like, do I need to be this news anchor? And, I'm like, and then guess what? Even recently, somebody said to me, just be yourself, even in this role. And I'm like, I had to remind myself that, like, you can still be a news lady, because that's what now is, I don't even say I'm a news anchor or, newscaster or, those. It's, hey, you the news lady. And I'm like, I am the news lady. I like that better than, news anchor, newscaster, because I am the news lady. I'm giving you the news. It's just a different, I'm still doing the same thing. I'm still a vehicle passing along information. I'm just giving it to you straight without without any sides.
Right. And you know what? It's interesting because those are always transitions we have to make. I remember when I went from being a reporter to being an anchor, that's a different thing. And when you go from anchoring like something that's more straight news to going to a more talk show format, which also fit, like, I was just like, who am I today? What role am I playing? But what you say about being yourself, just because it's simple don't mean it's easy. Because I remember our parents told us that. When my mama used to say it all the time, if you just be yourself, you're going to find, that there's nothing truer than that. And I'm sure you said it to Zoe and Max, but it's hard to believe it, I think, when we're younger, because it does sound so simple. But I don't know. It's but the transitions is where you learn what it actually means. Yes. Right? When you're moving from thing to thing. Have you always known, though, what you wanted to do in your life? Is this like the dream that you are living right now?
This was it. And I'll tell you a fun story about that. I always knew this was going to be it for me. I will say at one point, I thought I was going to be an actress. That was in elementary school years, which technically I'm still acting.
Right. Well, and you've done some roles on shows that have been legit acting, not just being a reporter on, not that wouldn't be acting because you're saying somebody else's words.
No,
but yeah,
that too. But at my 8th grade graduation, I said that. But then when I got to high school, I started thinking, do I really want to be an actress? Do I really want to memorize all those lines and do all that stuff? And it was, you'll remember, Pat Harvey, who used to be here at WGN back in the day, who's an anchor out in LA. And she visited my high school, and it was my junior year, and it was a career day. And she visited my high school. She spoke to the upperclassmen. She told us all about being a news anchor in LA, her path, how she got there, and everything about what she said. I said, that's it. That's it. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to be, because I've always enjoyed stories, being told stories, telling stories. There was a little girl. My father would tell me the same story over and over again. I'd be like, tell me that again, Daddy. Tell me that again. Like, I wanted to hear the story over and over again. Then I got to a point where I like to tell stories, but I also found it very easy to talk with people and to get their stories. Part of it is I'm just nosy. And it takes a good nosy person to be in this business.
Yes.
You be inquisitive. You got to be that's the fancy way of saying you just got to be damn right nosy. And, in high school, my best friends would tell you if something was going on at the party, who was trying to figure out what it was? Yeah, I've been investigating, reporting my whole life. What's going on? So it was just in my blood. So anyway, Pat Harvey came. I remember coming home and telling my mother, I knew what I'm going to do. She goes, my mother's a English teacher, high school teacher at LA Unified School District. And she says, what? I said, I'm going to be a news anchor. I'm going to start off reporting, but I'm going to end up being a news anchor. She said, oh, okay. She said, you sure? And I said, yep. She said, you sure you don't want to think about maybe a plan B? Because that's a super competitive field. It's hard to break into. It's hard to maintain. It's hard to last. Just, maybe consider something as an alternative.
Wait, did your mother, because my mother was a teacher too, did your mother say, maybe you should get a teacher's certificate as a backup? Because that's what my mama said.
No, she did not say that. She just wanted me to think about something else just in case this didn't work. And she said, now I don't remember this because she tells the story a lot now. She says, I told her, you want me to plan for failure? So I was like, I said that's pretty deep. She was like, I'm not failing. I was saying to her, I'm not failing. Like, there's no other plan. Like, I don't know what else there is. Like, this is my calling. And she said, oh, Okay. And then the rest was history. I went to college. I went to UC San Diego. My sophomore year, I started an internship at KGTV, which was the ABC affiliate in San Diego. At that time, internships were not paid. You went and you got credit. You got 2 credits to go towards your college degree. I never left that internship. They had me back all my sophomore year, my entire sophomore year, my junior year, and my senior year. So by the time my senior year rolled around, I was actually sitting on the assignment desk on the weekends where they paid me $100 just to make sure to listen to the scanners and make sure nothing was going on, because those were typically kind of quiet days. And that's how I got my foot in the door. I met some of my mentors in this business, one who I've lost contact with, but one I still keep in touch with to this day. And that was the beginning. And from there, it was Roswell, New Mexico on air. Then it was Topeka, Kansas. Then it was Flint, Michigan. Then it was WGN. And then now where I am today. So this is something that I've always known. When in elementary school and in high school, I was also very involved in speech competitions and dramatic monologues, humorous monologues. I didn't mind the stage. I didn't do theater, but I was very comfortable with an audience. I was very comfortable with the microphone, with speaking with people. So that was something that everything kind of aligned, and it just got me to where I'm at today.
Val, we have more in common than I realized, because I did speech and debate too, and I did humorous, I did oratory and all that stuff. And isn't it amazing though how that connects you? The little things you do, and these little decisions, or what seem to be little decisions when you're younger, end up determining a path for the rest of your life. And that's why it's so important to get kids when they're young. What's the best piece of advice that you've ever given or received, especially because you talk so much, and Zoe's such an amazing girl, and so is Max, such an amazing boy. And so what are the things that you think are like the core important things that people should remember about themselves, about success, about life?
Yeah, you know what? A couple things along the theme of what we've been talking about is fearless authenticity, right? The best advice I have been given is to be myself, and to be you. And I encourage that. And to also to piggyback on that, now I'm going to go into some other things, is that I remember telling Zoe went to St. Ignatius, right here. And I remember one day watching her walk into St. Ignatius. I drove her to school almost the whole time until she got a car. But I remember her walking in there, my one little chocolate drop in a sea of others that didn't look like her. And there were moments where there were a couple little incidences and things, but I remember telling her one day, you belong. You belong. 2 words. So don't ever get it twisted to make it think that you don't belong at this school. Because, and I almost get teary-eyed thinking about it. What made me have that moment, it was close to 8 o'clock, and there was a bunch of kids walking in at the same time. And the way she walked in there, Jeanne, she didn't wait and let all these other kids go. You know where I'm going with this, right? You go. She didn't. She walked in there. I mean, baby, she walked in there. They had to get behind her, okay, to get into their school.
Come through.
You know what I'm saying when I say that. And people, if like as the kids say, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. But I sat in my car and I watched her and I said, that's what I'm talking about. You got it. You listened to me. You finally realized you belong. Don't let anybody tell you that you don't have a seat at the table, that you ain't supposed to be here. So I've been preaching that too. But guess what? Just as much as I try to tell her that, there are times when I have to tell myself that too. People go, oh, Val's so confident, Val's so this. I have insecurities. I have moments of self-doubt. Who doesn't? And on those days, I have to look in the mirror and go, you belong. You've earned where you are. You weren't given it. You've paid your dues. You belong. You have a seat at the table. So that's something that definitely I still have to tell myself and remind myself occasionally. And then the advice that I pass along to my children, my daughter specifically, is something about, parenting a boy. That's all new to me. I think I'm doing okay, but it is, that thus the, job of coming in at a time in my life that's just like, that's a whole nother 30-minute conversation what I've seen in my son since having a man in the house. It's deep and it's different. And that is something to watch my son come out of his shell.
Girl,
You
you gonna make me cry today because I've seen that happen. Even though I don't have children myself, you see it happen when a good man enters a boy's life
Mm.
in a way that they haven't been there before, regardless of how that happens.
And this is no slight on anybody else.
Nobody at
Not
all.
anybody under the bus. But I know my kid. I know the inner workings of his day, his life, this house, and to see him transform into the young man that he is, it is really, I got a front row seat and I'm like, wow, this is pretty awesome. Like, I'm proud of both of them. But girl, I done got off track. You asked me two different things.
No, you answered the question
Yeah.
because here is what I want to follow through with on that. What have been your biggest challenges, or was there like any turning point moment that you either felt like was a failure or was something you couldn't get through, and how did you bounce back from that? Because that's the first thing that came to my mind when you talk about having to tell yourself that in the mirror. Like, that's such a strong practice. Is that your bounce back?
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to think of a specific situation right now. That's actually a really good question. I can't think of anything career-wise off the top of my head. Obviously, going through a divorce with very young kids personally, not having that be out there, but still going at this time, I was, anchor at WGN in the mornings, kicking it off and having the weight of the world on your shoulders, but then having to hide it and mask it for the time that you're at work. That is hard. And you feel like, you couldn't have a successful marriage. That's another thing. Like, I feel like I failed at that. And some of the ways that I parented initially, a lot of that had to do with the guilt, the single mom guilt. And, I had to work a lot. I wasn't there. So I compensated with other things or, the hours. And so there's a lot that you kind of got to unpack and deal with that. And you tend to other relationships, you're scared because you don't want to fail again. I actually said that in my vows last summer that, I counted myself out. Like, I'm a good partner. I'm a great life partner, but I ain't a wife. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't do that successfully. I failed at that, and then I didn't have another, situation where that didn't work out. So I'm like, at this point, we good. We good, bro. We just gonna ride this thing out. We're gonna be there for each other because I am this is how I convince myself, right? I'm a great partner. And then he was like, I'm gonna marry you. I was like, get on out of here. We good. We good. Let's just go on and keep living. And then when I was literally standing at that altar, I thought, wow, I am here. Like, but I tried to count myself out because of my past and failing. So I think about when you ask me that about failing, that's the first thing that comes to my mind in terms of big life events where I feel like I wasn't successful. And then it makes you gun shy going forward. And I know a lot of women who are in, not just me, women and men.
Yep. And the thing is I think there's a parallel between personal stuff and professional success, and then that holding back and that whatever. Because I've seen myself talk myself out of things too, and a lot of times I'll talk myself out of the personal stuff and not even realize how it's inching over into the professional things. Because that self-talk is so strong. Ooh, girl.
That's why this get out your own head. Get out your head. If we could get out of our own head, and even, back to full circle to our beginning conversation about being fearless. That's why it meant so much for Marlene to say that I'm fearless, because I am also very indecisive. That's one thing. Like, I give so much prop to producers because producers have to make decisions. They can't waffle. They have to be able to call the shot. It's in the moment. Like, you can't be like, oh shoot, should I take that live shot? Should we cover this? They got to make a decision. You know what I mean? And that's the part about me. It's like, I thought I like this one, but no, I think this is a good idea. We should do this. So I tip my hats to producers all the time, because I'm not. So in that, I have these conversations where I tend to, talk myself out of it, because again, self-doubt, even to the most confident person, self-doubt can creep in and make you think that, no, that's not a good idea. You should stick with what's safe.
Right.
Windy City Live was not safe. I had a safe, full, real good job. Windy City Live was a gamble, and for it to have paid off and us having a 10-year run, that's a huge accomplishment. But we didn't know. We were taking Oprah Winfrey's time slot.
Girl.
We were playing the shoes of the queen of talk. So here's little me and little Mr. Ryan, and like, okay, what are we doing? And we figured it out.
Yes, you did.
We figured it out thanks to wonderful people like you who came on and made our show even better. And Chicagoans, like you said, that people knew, and Chicagoans that people didn't know, and famous folks that came on. We made that thing work. But it was scary though, thinking like, are we gonna get another season? Are we gonna get another season? And then you could imagine the heartbreak we had when we found out it was over.
Yeah. But man, let me tell you something. What you did, you have everything to be proud of. Absolutely everything to be proud of. Val, we got to have a part 2 of this conversation. I'm going to ask you one last question. I'm going to let you go because I know you got to go pick up Max.
We got a few more minutes.
Okay. When do you feel like you are at your best, truest, most authentic expression of Val Warner?
Oh, God, when do I feel that? I guess when I listen to my gut, and when I listen to my heart, and when I pay attention to, like, my, we all got that little inner voice and that little thing that talks to us. When I listen to her, I feel like she's pretty spot on. And I tell people that all the time. Like, people ask me, girlfriends, we can talk. I said, what's your gut tell you? Your gut rarely lies. Your gut knows. So when I am paying attention to self and like really in tune, that's when I'm at the best to me. When I start letting outside influence in, that's when I'm not the best to me. But I know what I know. And when I pay attention to that, that's it. That's when it, right? Don't you agree?
100%. 100%. And
we have noise. And then we have the noise from social media. We have, like, this generation, Jeanne, oh my God. It's scary. You know what I mean? There's some wonderful things about social media, but then there's some not so wonderful things about social media that not only our kids fall prey to, but adults too. Me too. Sometimes I look and I'm like, damn, I should be further along. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And then I have to go, get off. Put it over there on the charger, get off of it, and look around and count your blessings. You're in a good space. And what God has for you will be for you. You got to pay attention to God's plan. That's why, when Wendy say live, it canceled, I got into a dark space. I was really bummed. I
remember a couple of our conversations, and I was praying hard for you because I've been there. I know how that feels.
And your words, along with a whole bunch of folks who had the right words to say just at the right time, even though it may not have resonated with me initially, but once I got to that point where I could hear it, then I was like, they're right. This was part of the plan. And so now what I have really been practicing is listening, like trying to get me out of the way and let God show me like what's next. And not to get all, religious and faith-based, but my faith is strong. Just because I may not be in the wall church of the Lord, the walls, I have a very, very strong faith, and I talk to God all the time. So me allowing him to show me what that next thing is, that's been a challenge too. To just sit back and go, okay, what is it? Because I know what I think I want to do, but it might not be right now. So paying attention, being in tune with the higher, with God, and then also listening to yourself. I think that's when I'm at my best, in not letting the distractions get in and set up house up here
I love it.
But a
Val,
residence up there.
man, I'm so glad we had this conversation, Val. I
Yeah,
really, really am. We got to talk.
we
We
talked
got to
about
talk more.
heavy stuff. We didn't talk about anything fun. Do you
Yeah,
want to talk?
we did.
Did we talk about fun stuff? Okay, good.
Yeah, we did. To me, this is fun, child. Because listen, everybody doesn't have access to you in the same way. And especially now that Windy City Live isn't there where we see you every day in our lives
Yeah.
and have that ongoing, because that's an ongoing conversation, right?
Uh,
And so I'm just glad that you took some time to do this, and we're going to do it again.
yes,
As the people say, as one of my teachers used to say, again.
right, right.
And it was an honor, my dear. Thank you so much.
Well,
I
thank you so
appreciate
much.
you.
Yes, for having me. Anytime I'm around, this is actually a sweet spot because it's like right before I got to go pick up Max, which you all, everybody knows I am very hands-on. I know I got to cut the cord at some point, and I'm getting there, but I am still that parent. The other day Zoe's back home for summer, and she said, we were out, the two of us, and she said, oh, we'll just have Jabba pick her up. I said, I do the afternoon pickups. That's my time. Jabba drops off every morning. They have their time, but I still want to be hands-on and present. So that is something that I look forward to every day. Is
Girl, soak up those moments.
Right, because they
won't be here long. Zoe gone. She gonna be gone soon. Like she might not be coming back for summers after a while. So
get into this crazy business. So she told me next summer she will be interning at GMA, and I said that's what I'm talking about.
That's hot. Oh, that's hotness. I love it.
We got to put that in the universe. We're gonna pray on that, and we're gonna get that into fruition. We want her at GMA so she can. My baby's never been in New York, so that would be amazing.
I love it. Oh, Val, I am so happy for you. And I am so grateful to hear how it happens for you, because I think we all can learn from each other's lessons and maybe get some new tactics and methods that help to push us all forward. Because that's where we
as long as you keep dropping those gems, because I'm telling you, you be having some powerful messages on the radio, on your social media, on this platform, I'm sure. And you don't even understand how your words influence people like me. And I'm sure all of the people who listen to you. Yeah, because you are so smart and you're so talented and beautiful and real. That's why this is your show, because you're all of that and then some. So, I mean, I just applaud you, because sometimes you say the things that I can't say, or I want to say, but I can't say. And I'm like, hey, Jeanne said it. Yes, get it.
Girl, look, sometimes you just got to let it slip out.
Yeah, you do. And I applaud that, because there are moments that, I want to, but I'm just like the Disney.
Girl, look, keep your job now. Don't mess up that paycheck now. Don't mess with ABCD, okay?
Okay. I will say this. Even though Windy City Live is gone in a way, because my producer would kill me, I am on our new digital platform. It's a 7 a.m. It's early. There's a 7 a.m. and a 7 p.m. I anchor or host, or however you want to call it, the 7 a.m. with Terrell Brown every morning. And while it is some news, you're going to get a little traditional news at the top. If you watch that show, and anywhere, and the good thing about it is you don't need to be at home. You can stream it. It can be on your phone, your TV, however, your apps, because there's a lot of cord cutters. I'm learning about this cord cutter generation who doesn't want to pay the expensive cost of cable, and they just stream. ABC7 app is free, so you can get it, put it on your TV. But when I tell you, we have incorporated some of that Windy City Live vibe into this 7 o'clock hour. So I'm very fortunate in the sense that no, Windy City Live may not be around anymore, but I'm able to carry the torch somewhat in the 7 a.m. And they're giving me the room and the freedom and the platform to do it. So I'm grateful for that. And Terrell and I are having a really, really good time. We get to talk to Chicagoans still. Every day we have an interview segment 2 times in the show. And then we also we don't call it host chat stories, but we do what we're talking about, where we talk about some of the craziest things, just like we would have on Windy City Live. So if you're missing your girl, I'm still around, and I'm on abc7.com at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I had no idea.
You didn't?
I did not. I was just checking out Windy City Weekend on Fridays. I had no idea. How I missed that.
I don't know. Then I'm not doing my job. I need to be better promoting. No, ABC is not doing their job because they need to be promoting that better, which I have talked about. I'm gonna have to march my little ass back in there and bring that up because you should know. You should know about that. But just know now. Tell your peeps, tell your friends, tell your family that it is happening. And Cheryl Burton does the 7 p.m. along with Rob Elgus. So it is really, and it's a break. It's a little bit of news, but it gives you another side of your favorite news anchors that you may not see. Terrell takes off his jacket. He's just got on his shirt and tie. Yeah, it's a loose.
And he's funny. Like,
he's funny.
I've only met him a couple of times in person. And every time I'm like, my guy is funny. Like, I really like him like that. Like, he could, because it's like when you're in that lane, you got to stay in that lane. But when you get out of it, you're like, oh, okay. I see you.
And he really embraced this. When they came to him and told him about this, he jumped on board. He was happy to do it because it's an extension of his morning, because he's on at 4:30 to 7. Then here I come at 7, all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And he's at the tail end of his day. But the good thing, it is a fast hour. We have so much fun and we get through a lot of stuff that you blink and you're like, wow, it's over. It's pretty good. I must say so. And let me give a shout out to Tony Smith, our new producer on it. So it's good. I'm pretty proud of it. And I'm happy to be still in the game. Let's just say that.
You always in the game, sis. Aww. Thank you so much for your time. Go pick up Max. Give him a big hug for me. And I will talk to you soon. It was such a pleasure having Val on, talking to somebody from the same industry with similar backgrounds and experiences. It's always good to chop it up and see how we've all gotten through it, right? And moving through it in our own different ways. I loved what she said when her mom had the reaction of having a backup plan because mine had the same one. And I loved her response that the backup plan was a plan for failure and that she knows it's her calling and there is no other plan but that. Steve Harvey used to talk to me a lot about that. When you have a backup plan, then you kind of planning to fail at plan A. Now, if you're interested in more than one thing, then that's pretty cool. But I like that. And the idea that we belong and that nobody can tell us that we don't have a seat at the table. And, some days, even as confident as you are, you have to remind yourself that you've earned the right to be where you are, that you have paid your dues. And even when that self-doubt creeps in, and it does happen for all of us, that you don't stick with what's safe, that you still stick to the thing that's in your heart. And then finally, that our gut never lies. And that the other piece of that I love is that Val has been practicing to get out of her own way and let God show her what's next. I think some of the biggest missteps I've made have been when I haven't listened to my gut and and that's when I get in my way. So thank you, Val Warner. Appreciate you for sharing, being my guest today. And more thank yous going out to you, our listeners, for your support. Appreciate it. Without you, wouldn't be able to do this. And also a big thanks to my Fearless Authenticity production team for making the podcast happen. So if you would like to, I really would appreciate it if you would like, rate, review, download, subscribe, and share this episode wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. And I'd love to have you as part of my community as well. So please follow me at JM Sparrow on social. Drop in your comments, your questions, your thoughts, your suggestions. I want to know what's on your mind. This has been Fearless Authenticity with Jeanne Sparrow. We'll see you again soon.